What if your connection to the spirit world was closer than you think? What if your unique way of seeing the world is the key to connecting the two worlds? Welcome to a Sanctuary for the Soul podcast. Join us as we delve into the heart of spiritual development, from the practical guidance and mediumship to the best way to live a heart-based life.
We are here to facilitate healing, awaken your intuition, and help you navigate your path with confidence. Speaking from our own deep journeys, we've learned to experience the world and the spirit world with a unique sensitivity. This is our space to share that perspective with you. Let's explore the connection together.
Well, hello Liz, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. How has your week been?
My week hasn't been too bad, you know how it is, ticking along this merry way that we call life. Do you know what I want to talk about today?
What's that?
I'm going to go into Victor Meldrew mode. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
So Victor Meldrew, for those uninitiated souls, was very famous for his complaining. So he would often, as that character that he played, Richard Wilson, that's it. Richard Wilson played the character Victor Meldrew, and he was very famous for his complaining, and he would often exclaim, "I don't believe it!" And I used to find it quite funny. And sometimes my wife will say, she'll call me Victor Meldrew. She says I like complaining, but I have discovered something. Do you know what I've discovered?
What's that?
Shall I tell you what I've discovered? I'm going to read it off my phone so I have it verbatim. Expressing frustration, this is a quote, expressing frustration and complaining acts as a double-edged sword. Now, no one likes a double-edged sword, but if we're going to have one, let's talk about it. So when done strategically, it acts as a pressure valve that releases stress. Who knew I was doing stress relief? But when done habitually, brackets, chronic complaining, it physically alters your brain structure. Now that I didn't know. And increases systemic inflammation. No one wants inflammation of anything. The holocotroncus, systems, nothing. No one wants that. So, when is it good to complain?
And I was just going to say as well, just listening to what you said then, that, whatever we do regularly, or whatever we think about regularly, we become, don't we? So it's like that becomes the lens through which we view the world. It does shape the brain.
That's not good.
No.
That isn't good at all.
It's about when...
Liz, I need to interrupt. I'm really concerned about something.
What's that?
I think about biscuits and cake a lot. Is there a chance? Is there a chance that one morning I might wake up and be like a packet of digested biscuits? If that's true what you're saying, I'm concerned now that I might wake up and then one of the dogs is gnawing on me because they mistaken me for a packet of biscuits.
I think it's more likely that you are always at some level looking for the next sweet treat.
Yes, I'm looking for a hit. That hit of chocolatey. Oh, hello. My camera disappeared then. It's rather bizarre.
Yeah. So, yeah, in terms of when it's good, because holding in, strong feelings or emotions, as we know, is not a good thing.
Yeah.
It creates tension in the mind, the body, it stops us being in flow.
Yeah.
So when is it good, do you think, then, to express frustration and difficulty and because if we don't, then
Yeah.
it's, well, there's that lovely term, isn't there? Spiritual bypassing, that everything is good, everything is great. And that's not the reality. So there must be, actually an importance in having some venting.
Well, I think there must be. I mean, I guess it's if we use like the analogy that everything in moderation.
Mm,
I think if we go around going, "Oh, the world's lovely, the world is all, roses round the window, and everything's just wonderful, love and light, dear." My favourite saying ever. Um, we're almost becoming like an ostrich,
mm,
sticking our head in the sand.
yeah,
We're not facing what's actually there, but I think sometimes you need to face and you need to express how you're feeling. Because if, for example, I feel, particularly stressed about something and I say, Liz, I need to talk to you about this. This is bothering me. I can go in there with a degree of stress, and by expressing how I feel and
mm,
by asking your opinion, for example, maybe I leave that situation with a renewed or a different point of view that allows me to not feel that sense of stress or that sense of, uncomfortableness, because I've I've taken some sort of step to mitigate the degree at which it affects me.
yeah.
You kind of follow my drift, what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
so what
say?
do you think is the factor that's different then between what creates a negative cycle and perception of the world and actually what gives relief and relieves that sort of tension in the nervous system?
Often it's a misplaced fear. I think there's a lot to be said for, we can be prone to worrying about what hasn't happened, what we
Yeah,
fear may happen, and
yeah.
that causes us stress and anxiety. And
Mm,
actually, the reality is that invariably the reality of the experience does not match the fear or anxiety that we feel running
mm,
up to that experience. And it turns out, the um, the way that we feel was much less um, onerous or anxiety
mm,
inducing
mm.
than we feared it would be.
Yeah,
Um, and I think, we try to I guess find a middle ground. Maybe if we're considering something, if it's a particularly stressful event, and we could say, well, oh, it could go really, really badly. I'm definitely guilty of that. It could go really badly, and what if it's terrible? And then you could say to me, well, what if it goes really, really, really well, and you
mm,
have an amazing time?
mm,
And what if the reality is somewhere in the middle?
mm,
And so you say, well, Andy, it was nowhere near as bad as you feared it may be. And I could say, well, it wasn't as good as you said it could be.
mm,
But actually we achieved something much better, which was a sense of finding that middle ground to experience something that was neither, you know, blow your socks off scary, or, like ridiculously, amazing.
mm.
Because I guess we can be prone to looking for the extreme. Certainly in certain character types. I mean, I probably would fall into that category whereby that hit of excitement I would find quite um, alluring. Yeah, I didn't think I'd use that word tonight, alluring.
Alluring.
But there
Yeah.
we go.
So in a way, what you're saying is that sharing how you feel with someone is what relieves the tension, whereas ongoing negative moaning
Yeah,
is
yeah,
what creates tension in the body.
yeah. I mean, we know that when you get stressed, it releases cortisol
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
bloodstream, and so if cortisol is that stress hormone,
Mm,
and stress is linked to things like diabetes, things like heart attacks.
yeah.
heart issues and stress on the nervous system.
Mm,
If we're in this constant fight or flight mode, I
yeah,
don't know whether that's the right way. I mean, please
yeah.
correct me if I'm not using that in the right context. But if we're in that mode all the time, that can't be good to have lots of the stress hormone running around your body.
No, and of
I mean, what does
course,
that do from your perspective? Obviously, you're much more
yeah.
versed in that.
Well, it reduces our ability to relax. It impacts our sleep. It creates inflammatory response in the body. It impacts the way we view the world. All of
Right.
those things. But the antidote, interestingly, from my perspective, is oxytocin. And
Which
so,
is for the
which is
uninitiated.
the love hormone.
Okay.
And that's what you've just described, really, is that when you're sharing how you feel and
Yep.
somebody helps you reframe it, or even just listens, because that's
Yeah.
sometimes all we need, then that's creating a feeling of safety, which is related to oxytocin. Yeah.
Interesting. So it's almost like for the negative aspect, there is like an antidote. And so if we
Oh,
find
yeah.
ourselves getting in the cycle, would you say then it's like a good idea to say, if I say to you, Liz, I feel really stressed about this, and you go, well, Andy, why don't you sit with your eyes closed and start to become mindful of your breathing, and then maybe take your mind to your dogs
Mm,
and kind of fill your heart, fill your mind, your awareness with that sense of love that you have for the dogs, and
mm.
think of that happiness. Is that start? Would that introduce like oxytocin into my system?
Yeah. And I was just thinking as well, everybody's going to be slightly different in
Yeah.
terms of what initiates and awakens that state or that oxytocin.
Okay.
So
Right.
if you think about different personality types, um, just for yourself, when you
Yeah.
feel stressed and the antidote is moving more into a place of oxytocin or
Yeah.
connection or
Yeah.
feeling at ease, what
Yeah.
what would be your go-to way to do that? Because I suspect it might be slightly different to mine.
I guess often I try to become mindful of how lucky I am. Often I might, bring into my mind, my awareness, the dogs, the ones in spirit, as well as the ones that we have.
Mm,
Um, and, bring into my mind those people or animals or situations that bring a sense of gratitude, a sense of thankfulness, a sense of where the thought of it brings that feeling of like a growing happiness.
mm,
So I don't think there's one particular thing, but there probably are a number of things where we have gratitude, I think.
mm,
And gratitude is almost like an antidote to, moaning. So you could moan about something and then say, oh, I find the price of fish and chips is extortionate.
mm,
But then you could say, however, isn't it wonderful that if I choose to have them, then I have the means to enjoy them? That because it's different for some people that wouldn't, they would like to have that as an issue, so then I can
yeah,
turn it from a negative to a positive without sounding, like, rather trite in saying that.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think noticing what I'm grateful for is probably a starting point for me. But I think being more extroverted, one of the things that I often need to do is to voice it, and it's like I have to say it out loud. Um, And I think that for me is extremely, cathartic. But
Okay.
I wonder if, people who are less extroverted, whether that is as necessary really. Um, and that's what makes me think that different personality types will find it different ways into soothing the system and having that cathartic experience and increasing oxytocin.
Yeah. No, I think you're probably right. I think different strokes for different folks
Yeah,
is kind of, how we'd maybe see it, in a general term.
yeah.
Hmm.
I was thinking culturally as well, because
Oh,
when I think about my husband's family, so they're Portuguese,
yeah.
they don't hold back. They literally just say whatever and it's done. And I was thinking actually, in terms of just expressing how they feel about something or what's bothering them or what they're
Yeah.
not okay about,
Hmm.
um, and I don't know that British people find it as easy to do that in such a straightforward way.
No, we kind of got that, we must have a stiff upper lip. Don't
Mm.
say how you're feeling. Bottle it all up until you die.
Yeah,
Whereas maybe that more Mediterranean mindset is whatever's in your head, say it with your mouth.
yeah.
Do lots of gesticulating, lots of lots of sort of hand waving and eye rolling and whatever else. But there's probably that
Mm,
sense of maybe the reaction comes very quickly, but
yeah,
then the equal maintaining the equilibrium then comes back just as quick. So it's
mhm,
like, yes, might go off like a bottle of pop, but then calms down just as quick. Whereas
yeah.
us, we're saying, right, so I got angry on April the 8th, 2019, and I'm still getting angry about it. And you're like, well, that's probably no good for you. No, no, no,
Mm.
no. I need to hold my grudge for at least 5.5 years just to, just to make sure that I'm definitely angry about it. And all of that stress, all of those unpleasant side effects of anxiety or stress, they're existing in the body. They've taken up residence,
Yeah,
haven't they?
yeah, and,
So we should be
just
more Italian or more Portuguese or Spanish then, should we?
yeah, well, just you saying that as well. Humor. I think humor is one of the fastest ways to create that cathartic experience and also oxytocin, that feeling of contentment and
So
gentleness
humour, we're
as
not talking about the leg bone, are we?
well. But, like, I like nothing more than, you know, some sort of meme or jokey thing that
Yeah.
I can relate to in terms of maybe one of my bad habits or, parts of my personality that's perhaps less, desirable. Because I think it's like then it helps you see, you
Yeah.
know, the humanness and the
Yeah.
lightness to it, and it makes it more acceptable to be a bit like that sometimes, doesn't it?
I think so. Sometimes you have to have that ability to laugh at yourself.
Mm,
Laugh sometimes at our stupidity or our just odd habits or whatever. And you kind of think you might not want that to be brought to your attention, but
mhm,
you realize that sometimes you just need to look at it, the situation, and sort of think to yourself, do you know what? Yeah, that's right. That is holding the mirror up to you, isn't it?
mm,
And, rather than, you know, turning the mirror around and saying, I refuse to look at it, you kind of look at it and think, yeah, okay, I get it. I get
mm,
what you're saying. Just be
mm.
honest. Be honest when you're feeling a bit victim elderly.
So, Andy, what does make you be a bit victim, Eldrew?
Well, as it happens, I've got a list.
Yeah, I bet you have.
Okay. Right. I'll start at the top. Do you know what I don't like? Unsolicited advice. It's like, oh, you know what you should do, don't you? And I'm thinking in my head, I know what you should do. And they go, you know what you should do? What you want to do is da 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 da. And then I just sort of gradually just feel that sense of anger, just building up like one of those volcanoes that gradually gets ready to erupt over the course of like
Mm,
5,000 years. Or I might go
Yeah.
straight into like Mount Etna mode. It just sort of happens frequently and often. But
I
it's,
I imagine you to go more silent though with unsolicited
I think
advice.
silent is better, because if I start to express verbally how I feel, then I might not stop. But I do sometimes. What did my mother say to me? She says, if you haven't got anything nice to say, well, in that case, enjoy the silence.
Yeah.
So you kind of think to yourself, and I don't mean that in relation to her. I mean, yeah, I do tend to go quite quiet, because I'll spend a lot of time thinking about it, and then I might address it. I might, if I feel particularly rankled, I might literally say it there and then exactly how I feel. And then
Yeah.
probably feel a bit guilty, because almost certainly I'll go slightly overboard and quite possibly say something I don't really mean. But once I've said it, I feel better, and then go into a state of like regret and think, oh no.
Mm.
What about yourself? What's your top annoyance? Have you got one?
Well, I think it's one we were joking about earlier that when some something gets put through your door and inviting you to, I don't know, some local organization, let's say,
Yeah.
and popped into a Christmas card or something like that, and I just kind of think, well, what about if I went round and just started inviting people to,
Yes.
my my spiritual development group?
Yeah. Dear neighbour, tomorrow night we're going to be speaking to the spirit world. We cordially invite you to attend at 9 p.m. We will have our crystal balls, our headscarves, and we shall be saying in unison, is anybody there? Yeah, they wouldn't like that, would they?
No,
It's
no.
almost like they're trying to, cleanse you, absolve you of your sins.
Mm, yeah,
Dearly
I know
beloved.
it's it's done in I'm sure it's done, from a very good place, but I think, organizations, sometimes, yeah, feel that they can just pressurize,
Yeah.
us to join. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, please join our cult. I mean, and yeah, we don't like that. I think I had one, it was a handwritten letter. I was quite impressed that it was handwritten, but it was a good 2 or 3 pages about how, my very soul could be saved. It could be saved. And all I had to do was go to one of the meetings, and I too could have been knocking at your door soon afterwards. So, do you see what I mean? And I kind of think to myself, okay, thanks very much. I like it when they say, oh, would you like to speak? I go, well, as it happens, I would.
Yeah.
And we start, what are your thoughts on this? And I go, well, that's lovely, but what are your thoughts on this?
Mm.
And we start to talk about all sorts of stuff, and like the colour starts to drain from their face. They start to, and they move backwards away from the window. I mean, mainly because the dogs are barking at them, jumping up the window. But there is that sense of fear that, whatever has possessed me is going to be contagious. But I shan't mention who they are, because that wouldn't be right. What else annoys me? I tell you what else annoys me. When you buy like cake or something, or,
Yeah.
or a dessert, and it says serve 6, and you know that there is no way that you are sharing that dessert with 6 people. That is like 3 or 4 at the most. That's annoying, that, Liz. I don't like it. Serves 4, and you think, I am not slicing that Battenberg into 6. There is a good chance. There is a good chance I could demolish that whole thing myself. I mean, I'm happy to split it in half, but if you're going to say to me there's 6 portions, you need to provide the evidence that backs that claim up.
I love the fact it's Battenberg.
Yeah. I like Battenberg. I like the almondy flavour. Bit marzipan, do like it. I mean, it's very nice, but don't try to convince me that I need to split that into 6 or 8. I will be livid. I would be livid if I end up with a little sliver that is nearly see-through Battenberg. You're giving me see-through Battenberg. You want me to enjoy your product, and all I've got is something that looks like Battenberg, like it's a hologram. I don't want to see a cake hologram. I want to see a proper wedge. If like one of those, you know, those self-closing doors where you have that big like V-shaped thing at the top that closes your gate for you or your door. If that Battenberg can't hold back that door, then it's not big enough.
Yes.
That sounded a bit ranty, didn't it? Right, what's your next one? I like this. This could be a very long podcast.
Yeah. Yes.
Come on, Liz, give me another one.
Well, I think it's very similar to your unsolicited advice. I really don't like being told what I should do.
Yeah.
And I think basically that is why I'm self-employed.
Except by the police.
Yes, of course, law abiding. But yeah, being told what to do, it almost as an immediate response for me, because I think it's the feeling of being restricted.
Yeah.
And and I'm very conscious of not, well, trying my best in terms of not telling other people what they should do because I don't like it. So yeah, it's when I think when when someone tries to give you that advice and actually you know that they've never been in that situation, I think that's a really tough one as well.
So when people teach you something that they don't do themselves.
Oh, that's a really tricky one. Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
It makes you want to go, I should do that, should I? But
Yeah.
based upon your vast experience of not doing it yourself.
Yeah.
What it comes down to that, what was it? Don't do as I do as I say.
Oh, yes. Gosh, that's such an old saying, isn't it?
Yeah, that's because I'm an old person. Old people say old things.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. But
Yeah.
joking aside, so what's going to be the moral of the story then? What you gonna suggest? What do people need to do then?
I think it's knowing. I mean,
Yeah,
for me, I think it's a good reminder that it's okay to talk about, difficult experiences or something that
yeah,
you need to vent a bit in the right context with the right people
yeah,
or person, because it has that cathartic, anti-inflammatory, oxytocin increasing experience. I think it's when we find ourselves chronically complaining about the same thing, but not trying to create a change ourselves to it.
yeah. I think that's a perfect way to end it.
Mm.
So, do you want to say goodbye?
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Thank you so much for listening. We'd love for you to comment on our podcast, to share it with tens of thousands, if not millions of people, if you know millions
Mm.
of people. And we'd love to know what else you want us to talk about, because I've got lots of things that I want to rant about or talk about. But what would you love us to talk about? Let us know, and we look forward to hearing from you. Take care, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.